What's up, everybody? Waiting for everybody joining the live. Be here for. Oh, I see Old School Zone. My friend Old School Zone. See JR. Hey, JR. Oh, y'all already. Oh, okay. Y'all already. Look, y'all already know who I'm representing. I had to move y'all for some lighting, so excuse me, y'all. If I'm in a different direction that y'all can see all of me. Y'all supposed to see me neck up. Sorry, but you gonna have to see me that down. Y'all, I'm so excited today. Oh my gosh. So excited. Y'all ready for Mr. Kipper Jones? I know I am. Oh, you know, B7 all the way. I was listening to this last night, y'all. This got me through last night. This was my healing. I healed last night so much. When I listened to this, I was good. I was great. I know. Lord. I'm excited. I'm happy, nerves guided, you know. Yes, I see my people are coming in. Yes. I would play Kenny Lattimore, y'all, but I ain't trying to get us shut down. No. Hey, Big Will TV, what's going on? We're going to wait till Mr. Kipper joins in the live, so I'm going to give him a second. I'm just going to wait for till he comes in and joins me, and then I'll just do my spill. Yep, do my spill, y'all. Can't believe y'all, the 25th anniversary of Kenny Lattimore's album. Oh my God, y'all, it's so good. I love it. I love the album. It's beautiful. It's straight R&B soul. It's everything. Oh, thank you. Yes, y'all, I feel so much better. Hey, Montrez. I feel so much better. Hey, everything Jagged Edge. I see y'all. Thank y'all so much. Y'all really supported me last night. I couldn't believe it. Y'all really got me out of my box. I had no idea that y'all posted me. Y'all gave me like over 50 followers. I was like, whoa. And I was laying down. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to wait till Mr. Kipper joins me. He's going to be in for a minute. Give me just a second. He should be joining me. I'm just going to wait till he joins. I don't want to just up and send stuff. I'm trying to be patient. So, yeah. Yes, so sweet. I didn't even know they was going to repost me. I was like, whoa. That threw me for a loop. Okay, we're going to wait for Mr. Kipper Jones to join in. Give him a second, y'all. He should be hopefully coming on my live. There goes my best friend. Hey, Cece. Ah, okay, there he goes. All right, y'all. We got in like. Okay. I don't know what just happened. Okay, let's see what happened. Hi, how you
Hey,
doing, Mr. Kipper?
what's going on?
Nothing. How are you?
I'm actually here.
Yes, I was got nervous because the live had joined and then you joined in, so I was like, okay.
No, I'm sorry.
No, you are good. You are good. I'm loving that hat.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I have a choice of hats. I'm such a hat guy. I'm always wearing hats. So
Me, I'm a hat person too. I wear wigs, but I love hats. So if I know I have a bad hair day, I'm a hat girl. So before I do get started, I want to introduce myself and my platform before I do get started. My name is Chastity Buckley. I am the host of Midnight R&B Edition, Homage to Midnight Love BET, where I give all my flowers and all my honor and everything to all my R&B artists, singers, songwriters, producers, and everybody who has changed the game of R&B and everything in itself. And I'm here with the R&B legend, singer, songwriter, entertainer, activist. I mean, this man has wrote 113 registered charts. I mean, he has three number one hit singles. He has 7 top 20 charts, and he has 14 charter charts. And this is the one and only Mr. Kipper Jones. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My absolute pleasure. When people say all that stuff, I'm like, are you talking about me?
Yes.
When did all that happen?
Before I was born.
Thank you, Chastity. I appreciate that.
But hey, but you know what? I have a story to tell you before we do get started. Since we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of Kenny Lattimore's album, you really, really changed my life in so many ways. I don't know if I got to tell you this, but when I was 5 years old, I stayed in Dallas, Texas, and you are the reason why I am in love with Brandy Norwood. I was 5 years old, and I actually was being bad. I was in my mom's room, and I was picking up cassette tapes. And when I picked up a cassette tape, it was very random. I didn't know who it was, and I played it, and that was "I Want to Be Down," and it changed my life. So I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You really, really made her the person and the reason why I love this. I love her album, and "I Want to Be Down" is that song that really changed my life at 5 years old. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Well, no, I appreciate that. And two things. One is, you get paid for doing what you do, and that's great. That's wonderful. But what you just did right there is why I do what I do.
Oh.
Because that right there, you can't pay for that. That's that unsolicited compliment of anything that I had anything to do with is just better than any money that anything could ever buy. So thank you for that. And then two, go Dallas, because I lived in Dallas for 6 years.
Yes, she did. What year did you live in Dallas?
From 2000 to 2006.
My last year in Dallas was in 2000. I moved back to Louisiana in 2001.
Wow.
So we missed each other.
Right. Well, it was funny because I was there, during Katrina.
Oh,
and,
I didn't know that. Okay.
And so, I saw all those folks come up from Louisiana.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bananas. I think we were in downtown somewhere one day, and we were like, "What is going on?"
Mm-hmm.
This is boatloads of people, busloads of people, and it was an interesting time to be in that region of the country at that time. Anyway, because the whole dynamic started to change for us.
Oh yeah.
Especially, you didn't want to address what was going on with us. God will fix that.
And he did.
Washed you right up on their doorstep. Now what you gonna do?
Okay. Look, you better preach and let these people know, because I mean that's what it did for me. I mean, when Katrina hit, I was actually I just turned 16 years old. I literally had just turned 16. And I was, a junior in high school trying to get my life right. And it was so crazy because I was listening to Brandy heavily. So crazy. Her Never Say Never album, impacted me so much. I mean, you impacted me number one, and not even that. I Want to Be Down actually was on my mother's birthday. It released was on my mother's birthday, her 30th birthday. So it all ties together. But it was just so amazing. But at that time, Katrina was really rough for us. And, I was really going through it and learning my life as a young teenage girl, trying to make it through. I mean, the music, healed me and helped me in so many ways. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, we both thank God. How about that?
You know what? I thank him and everything above me, and my late mother. She was the reason why I am who I am today, and just really made me understand music in more than any way.
That's awesome.
Well, today we're here, since we got another, like, my lovely little personal box. We are here to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Kenny Lattimore's self-titled debut album that made 25 years today. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe it. I talked to him, when I talked to Kenny a couple of days ago. And we were like, this is 25 years. Yeah. Can you believe it? I'm like, I can't. Kenny and I have a relationship outside of the music. So, I mean, we're friends. I mean, literally. And so it's just awesome to see him, come in the business 25 years ago. I had, kind of been doing my thing, and he had done some things prior too, but as a solo artist, to see him come in and just go from where he started to where he is now, not just as an artist, but like I said, he's my friend. So to see him as a human being grow and develop and turn into this awesome man, I'm just so proud of him,
Aww.
And not to mention that voice. My God.
Donnie Hathaway.
He's in that class. He's certainly in that class of singer. We did the Capitol Jazz Super Cruise in January 2019. and there were like 40 plus artists. I mean, Babyface and Sheila E. and Guy and Teddy Riley and Richard Smallwood and Mesa and Incognito and Gregory Porter and Avery Sunshine and Anthony David wasn't there. I was there. Gerald Albright. It was just crazy. And Kenny and SOS Band and I mean, on and on and on. But Kenny's performance, I hadn't seen him in a long time.
Wow.
And I you know, seen him perform it, but it was just, I mean, you know, because he's classically trained.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has this awesome instrument that he has full authority over. It's just amazing to hear him sing, you know. So, yeah, so I'm not just a guy who wrote 5 songs on his debut album. I'm also a big fan, you know.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Me too. I mean, for me to listen to him at 6 years old, watching the box in Dallas, Texas myself.
Come on, the box.
Right. I mean, it was my, when I didn't have cable, it was my BET and my MTV at the time. Hey, so, man, you know, the 90s.
Man, if you could get a twofer, you paid $2, you could get what, 3 songs or something like that.
Okay. And then, you know, what was so crazy, Mr. Kipper, I used to memorize the numbers. So that's why I say I used to memorize numbers like crazy. So when the numbers would come on, I'm like, I know that video. I know that artist. I know the name. It was just like a second nature thing for me. So to see Kenny Lattimore to come to where he comes from, and not even that, for him to just drop Never Too Busy. That was the first song I heard, the song he wrote for him. And I was like, wow, he's kind of got a smooth jazz to it. But the one that really caught my heart was For You. For You was the juggernaut that just hit him through. I mean, you have released 2 singles from him. Was Never Too Busy and Just What It Takes. Those were his first leading 2 singles. And then with that, you know, For You kind of just took it over the top. And for that alone right there, you know, for have your first 2 singles that you wrote by him was like that catalyst for him. And then for the album to do what it did, it was just beautiful. And I mean, for me to listen to Never Too Busy at 6 and just liking his group, I was like, okay.
And, you know, I always try, and especially with an artist like Kenny, because he's not just a singer. I mean, he's a person with, you know, he's a thinking person, and he's got integrity and those kinds of things. So when you approach an artist like that, you want to write with themes that have integrity. You don't want to just say or do anything. So, I mean, I knew that right away. I could, you know, we have a saying, you know, some people grow up and some people were raised. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Kenny is one of those people who was raised. And yes. And so you always want to, as my grandparents used to say, do your best. Yeah. You always want to, you know, present yourself in the best possible way, you know, and especially with an artist like that. So themes like I'm never too busy, you know, I got things on my mind, taking my time, but I'm not too busy for you, you know, and you know, you've been through all these relationships, just another story of the lost and lonely, stuck right in the middle of a lonely heart, but I've got just what it takes. I mean, you just want to do these themes that have, you know, real integrity, and Kenny's a gentleman, and I don't just say that, you know, because he dresses nice and all that kind of thing. I mean, you know, he presents himself in a way that you have to honor that. He's a real gentleman. Exactly. And so I just wanted to always write with themes, and even when we did his second album, which, you know, we'll be talking about that in a couple of years. Right. But even when we did that record, again, I mean, you know, he was maturing in life, and the music was maturing even. Right. And so, you know, we start to even write a little more explorative themes. However, they still maintain that same integrity level, you know, that level of integrity and respect.
Right. And that's what I love about your songwriting. You always kind of, whatever artist that you do, you always envision a lot for what you kind of have a kind of like you're the painter and they're the canvas, and you do the writing for them, like you did for Brandy. I Want to Be Down, for that, you know, that to be her song, and the way the words just flow. I like to get to know how I could be the kind of girl. I mean, it's like, wow, you know, that really is how a lot of young teenage girls feel. Like, we have a feeling that we like somebody, but we don't know how to do it, but we want to say these type of words.
You don't have the language. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, as a songwriter, I think that's what we are charged with, giving people the language to you know, to then go about their daily walk, you know, whether
Right.
it's in relationships or in life or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I what you'll find out maybe a little interesting is I love country music.
Me
Um,
too.
I just absolutely love country music, and I'm a huge Ashley Monroe fan. And if she ever comes to Atlanta, I gotta go see her. But she's a great writer. They're so insightful. They tell great stories.
Mm-hmm.
They use a lot of lyrical sensibilities. She has a couple of songs that really just paint pictures. You can take your time and use words and paint pictures, and you don't have to be so how do I say this without bashing? Hook driven.
Yeah.
You know, which is okay. I don't bash anybody for what they do. I mean, you know, art is art. Just because I don't care for it doesn't mean it's not art. You know, and it doesn't. I can't, you know, disrespect what people do. Um, and trust me, I love a good Dua Lipa record too, because she got
She's
hits.
dope.
I mean, you know, she's got about 3 songs that I know like are earworms in my head. But by the same token, you know, I love the lyricism of country music and where you can really kind of go with it to tell a story and
Right.
really pull on the emotion of people. I still try to do as much of that as I can in what I'm doing now. You know, that's kind of not necessarily difficult. You just have to find artists that are into it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm, you know, I know you've got things you want to ask me. We'll talk about all of that stuff
Oh, you
too.
can.
You know, I have a band here in town in Atlanta called Kipper Jones R&B Circus,
Circus. Mm-hmm.
and featuring the Black Betties. And the Betties are Cherie and Sharita Murphy. They're twins, who are amazing vocalists.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've written for them a song called "You Belong to Me," which we're going to have out this summer. Kind of mix in with this Aretha Franklin movie that's coming out with Jennifer Hudson.
Okay.
Because this record is totally Aretha Franklin 1968.
Ooh.
1968, 67, somewhere in there. Yeah, it's soulful
Mm.
and I mean, we're just loving it and excited about it. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. You can still do what you do, and I'm sure there's an audience for. I know because we played this record, we kind of tested it around, and people are like, "Oh my goodness, you know, we don't hear this anymore."
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's funny. I'm 59. I'll be 60 in January, and I I know that people my age still buy music. We still, you know,
We buy
download
vinyls.
music. Uh-huh.
We buy vinyls now.
Yeah, we buy vinyl too. Shoot, we back in the crates. But, but literally, I know that we do have probably the largest amount of disposable income.
Right.
These kids out here, I mean, yeah, they listen to music and they go to shows and they do whatever they do. They go to festivals and that kind of thing, but they don't really have the money that their retired
Yeah.
parents have. You
That's
know what I
true.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that, you know, people my age still love the good music. You know, the Charlie Wilson, Lettucey, Layla Hathaway, Gregory Porter fans of the world. You know, people love Kim and they go see Kim because that's right down their alley. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so I know that that audience is out there and it exists. Um, I just think that sometimes we get caught up in what's fed to us. We're
Yeah.
told we're told what we have to listen to because
Right.
that's what mainstream radio plays, right, or whatever. And so, you know, that's pablum. I mean, that's what we're fed. That's what
Yeah.
we eat. You know,
Yeah.
but you can do your work. You can go to your Spotify's, you can go to Bandcamp. You can go to the Bandcamp site and site for new artists. Just look for new soul artists
Mm-hmm.
and you will find some things that will absolutely blow you away. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you just have to in the new business, you have to go find it.
Right, you do. You definitely
It's
do.
not just fed to you. You have to go and find it.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely. And then I think, and it's so great you hit that point, Mr. Kipper. I feel like, Silk Sonic is kind of trying to bring it back a little bit. We'll leave the door open.
Oh yeah.
They're trying
Yeah.
to bring it that 70s. I'm loving that.
I absolutely have always appreciated Mr. Hernandez and his hearkening to the bygone eras of soul and R&B. I just, I think the world of him for doing that. And then to marry that with Anderson .Paak, who also does the same thing in a very futuristic kind of way. And I guess they probably saw that in each other and were just like, hey, we ought to,
collab and just make a hit. And then for it to be like a 70s soul vibe, because it gives me 70s more than does, futuristic. Yes. But at the same time, it's like you said, they're keeping it to a point where the blend of soul music used to come from. Yeah. So,
well, soul as a genre, because soul to me is not just a genre of music. Soul is the feeling that happens when you get it right. When the lyric and the melody and the chord structure and the timing and the tempo, when it's all right, and you hear it and you feel it and you go, oh yeah, that's it right there. That is it. That's soul. And that's bigger than just like R&B soul. That's bigger than just, what we're used to in Black music. It's like I said, that feeling. So it's in country music. It's in it's in folk music. It's in, it's everywhere that you can reach out and grab someone and make them feel it.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. And that's why I say I'm just so happy and proud of you. Like the R&B circus, when I seen that you had a whole band, I was like, what? I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I'm a huge Johnny Taylor fan. I'm a Johnny Taylor head.
Jesus. Come on, somebody.
So my family put me on. I had no choice. But what I loved, what Johnny Taylor did for me was when he said Tupac and Biggie, I said, wait a minute, he knows about them? And this is before he passed. So when I learned about he knew my type of music when I was growing up, I was like, okay, these people do know about the new music. And I think it made me just learn and understand that you just can't erase history. You have to understand that they were the first, and then you understand the blueprint, and it keeps going and going. The legacy has to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of, you see in my job description, as it were, singer, songwriter, entertainer, educator, activist.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have taken to doing, I was invited to speak at like Full Sail University and a couple of entertainment panels and stuff like that. And I said, well, I've always wanted to end up in the classroom just as a teacher anyway, because I felt like all of this experience, all of this life, and all of this that I've been so blessed to be able to do wasn't for me.
Right.
It's for the people coming after me.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so I enrolled at the Berklee College of Music, and I am a student in the music business degree program.
Congratulations.
And that is going to enable me to, post up somewhere and be a professor, right? And just do my thing. But in the meantime, I am putting together a couple of different presentations. The one I did at Full Sail, which is called The Power of a Great Song as Told Through the Journey of Kipper Jones, is really kind of about what happens when you can, through my journey, but what happens when you write a song that, like I Want to Be Down, that still today is still active and monetizing my existence. For your audience, I Want to Be Down was just on Pose last week. Yeah.
I screamed. When
listen. And Johnny and I, my manager and I, we found out that they were having some issues getting the licensing taken care of because of an old publisher who's, but anyway.
Right.
Well, we had to work that thing out because I was like, no, Pose for me is a historical document.
Yes, it
It
is.
is an actual piece that will be representative of a period of American history that had to be told.
Exactly.
And so I was gonna move heaven and earth to make that happen.
That's
I just
right.
had to be on there. And so when I didn't even get a chance to see it. My goddaughter, who is now in Ghana, she texted me. She said, "Oh, Kipper, your song is on Pose right now." And I'm like, "What? It's already on? Oh my God!" So
Yeah, it did.
that was great. And that's this year. Just last year, well, 2019, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure. Somewhere 2019, 2020. The pandemic year is a blur. I'm so sorry. But anyway,
yeah.
I was also on the new Chance the Rapper album.
Oh, yeah, I did heard that.
Yeah, which I mean, Chance the Rapper for me is the embodiment of the new record business. I mean, he and his manager really figured out how to make it go. And they do a wonderful job. I heard they're not doing so well right now, but people grow and they change.
Right.
But in the meantime, I think he did a wonderful job at establishing a career in an independent environment that can, it's just huge. There's so much stuff out there. You can get lost real easy. You could get lost in a major label. And so now you got, hundreds of thousands of more people to even compete with. Yeah. So it's real easy to get lost. And so they did a wonderful job of that. So I'm a big fan of Chance the Rapper. So to be on his record was really exciting. And then the year before that, we had a Grammy nomination with an artist called Bonobo, who used Baby for it was a song on his album called Kerala. And he was nominated for Best Electronic Dance Album. Yep. And so it just goes on and on, and to have someone call I Want to Be Down one of the greatest R&B records in history, what do you say?
Like I said, you got me at 5, so for me to grab that cassette tape at 5 years old and play it and it stopped me in my tracks, and then for it to come out on my mom's 30th birthday, it was a deep connection with me and Brandy. So I'm so blessed and thankful for you to bring that song to me at 5 years old, and ever since then it's been a journey. So I just thank you so much, Mr. Kipper. You made Baby, you made Broken Hearted, you made Moving On, like you just said. Moving On was on Love Is on Oprah's On. I don't know if you knew this, but it was on Oprah's On her TV show of like 3 years ago. And it was like a 90s theme they were doing, kind of like going about back in the 90s about this young girl who was trying to make it into the film industry or something like that, and do a sitcom or something. And they played Moving On by Brandy on that. So I was like, this is Brandy. It was just amazing. But you were on Oprah On. So, I mean, to say your legacy.
Yes. I find out later when it comes on my royalty statement. And I'm like, oh my God.
But it goes to show you, when I seen that myself, I mean, your music just solidifies everything and everywhere. Like I said, you've been in movies, you've been in TV, you've been in commercials. I mean, everything you can name. I mean, and then kids from, on down younger just gravitate to any type of thing you put out. Vanessa Williams, like I said, she touched me at 7 years old. So, I mean, these songs and everything that you have done, you really have gravitated to a lot of people from kids on to adults. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, that's why you do it, just to hear people say that.
Yeah, definitely for sure. So definitely for sure. I know we had a beautiful, and I just loved the way you just talked about how music is now and what you want to see progressing going. So now we want to get started about who you are and who is Mr. Kipper Jones. So I know you are from Flint, Michigan, and you were raised in LA.
Yeah, I'm born in Flint, Michigan.
There you go. Born in Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, born in Flint, Michigan, but I am from LA.
From LA, yes. And so I wanted to ask you, I guess, how did you come from that transition from the Midwest to the West Coast, and then how did you get your love for inspiration for music?
Well, my parents were young, and my mom was living in Los Angeles, but got pregnant with me, moved back to Michigan with her mom, had me. My dad went to Michigan, married her, brought her back to LA. I was only in Michigan for 9 months.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
We did go back for 5th, 6th, and 7th grade when my parents divorced. And then at that point, it was myself, my brother, and my sister. And so the reason why that kind of ties back is because you asked me about music and how was I kind of influenced or drawn to it, or I'm not sure exactly what your question was, but I think I can explain it by saying I think my mother always saw some sort of inclination in me, some kind of artistic inclination, and so she always fostered that. She had me in piano lessons at the Suzuki School for Gifted Children when I was like 5 or 6.
Wow.
And then I didn't like that so much. So then I went to like violin, and I didn't care for that so much either. And then my parents got divorced, so when we moved back to Michigan, I don't even know how in the world I got to French horn, but I played French horn in the Flint Elementary Symphony. And my cousin Chris played first chair trumpet, and we were in the Flint Elementary Symphony.
Right.
But also in Flint, the church that we attended was called New Jerusalem Baptist Church. With Pastor Otis Floyd, Reverend Floyd, with Bishop Floyd later in life, who was just the singingest somebody. Oh my God, that man could sing. And you like Johnny Taylor, I love Johnny Taylor too. Well, Bishop Floyd sang like that. He had that soul, that bluesy soul thing.
Yeah.
And my mother says that I would just sit up under him and just watch it and just soak it up. And then we had an organist there at the time named Jeffrey LaValle, who had moved to Flint from Milwaukee, and he was 17, I was 10. I'll never forget, but he was just incredible then. And he wrote this, a little side note. He wrote a song called Hallelujah,
Salvation and glory. Yes. Power
to the Lord our God, right?
Yes.
Which is also on the new Kanye West album, Jesus is King.
Wow.
And Jeffrey won a Grammy this year because he was on that album. So I'm so proud.
Aww.
It's my big bro. But those two people just influenced me like nobody's business in terms of like really giving me this desire to want this music thing, to really invest myself in it and all of that. And so that's really where the drive came from. Right. And by the time I had moved back to California, so I did 5th, 6th, 7th grade in Michigan, came back to California for 8th grade, on through the rest of my life. From that point, I was just, it was on and cracking, you know. So.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Wow. So that's why you get the transition to moving to LA. So I know you were saying around the time you were kind of like going to middle and high school. So I want you to talk about this time where you got to become a demo singer when you were 15, 16. And I want you to tell that story because I think that story is so beautiful, and just the way you transitioned into Motown. I want you to talk about that.
Yeah. So I was in 10th grade, I guess, 10th, 11th grade, 15, trying to 16. And so I went to school with this young lady named Tammy Ellison. Tamara Ellison, she was a year older than me, but we had bands in those days in the 70s. Everybody had a band because you wanted to be Rolls Royce and Commodores and Confunction and Cameo, and everybody had a band, LTD. I mean, it was just, you had 11 people on stage. Nobody made no money, but you had a horn section and singers and rhythm section. And I mean, it was just, everybody had a band. So I had bands from the time I was 14. I was in a band one way or another. And so we had a band at Gardena called Ultra Band. We weren't just our stage band. We were a select few. That we was going to be what we wanted to be. We let the school tell us what we were going to do. So anyway, so Tammy would see us and stuff, and she kept saying, you got to meet my mom. You got to meet my mom. I'm like, okay, whatever. But she kept telling her at the same time, she's telling her mother, you got to meet this kid. And so finally her mom said, listen, have his mother bring him over. So my mom takes me over to their house, and they lived up in the Hollywood Hills. We did. So, so anyway, we get there, and she was sitting at her keyboard, smoking a cigarette. She didn't even look at me. And she's like, I had my saxophone case because I actually played saxophone too at that time.
Yeah.
And so she goes, you gonna play that thing or what? And so I was like, oh, yes, ma'am. So I go, I pull my horn out and, you know, put it together and everything. And so I go, da, 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 ba, ba, da, 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 ba, ba, da, ba, da, da. And then I sang, but I don't want to bore you with my trouble. And so she looks at my mom. She goes, so what's he doing tomorrow by 7:30? My mother's like, what do you want him to do? And so she writes down this address and she gave it to my mom. She says, have him here tomorrow night. And tomorrow night was my first night as a Motown demo singer.
Right,
because I was singing demos for Marilyn McLeod and Pam Sawyer, who were a very popular, very well-to-do songwriting team at the time. They had written, if there's a cure for this, I don't want it. I don't want it. Right? Yeah. So I mean, they had not just that. I mean, tons of other songs, but that was like
Eddie Kendricks.
Yeah, and I did that for them for a minute.
Wow.
And so being in that environment and seeing how they crafted a song and what they were never satisfied until it was, oh, that could be better, or how about we do this way? Try, you know, it just made it better, make everything the best it could be. And I, having been in that environment and knowing what Mr. Gordy's method was like, I was right there. I just, you know, I was just right there with it, you know, so I understand the Motown quality control process. You know, I was in it, you know what I mean? And it was awesome. You know, God has been amazing in my life and put me into places with the people that I'm supposed to be with and where I'm supposed to be because of where he has me to go. So it's just amazing. You know, I wouldn't have, how would I have known Tammy's mother was a hit songwriter? And you know what I mean? And I tried to, I need to meet Tammy's mother. No, it wasn't even about that.
Yeah.
You know, it's about you do what you do. I'll have Tammy take care of that. You don't worry about that. Ain't that something? That's just like, wow.
I always said, and that's so true. And I always say, you know, things don't happen by fate. It's always God's timing. And, you know, you were at the right place at the right time. And just seeing, you know, those two songwriters, you know, not alone see the talent within you, you really, really helped a lot in Motown. That's why, you know, I always got to big you up with Motown as well, because you being a demo singer, just learning, you know, the craft and, you know, your songwriting and everything that you've done. You really have done great things. And so proud of you for that. And definitely for sure, as you got older, you definitely did get in a group called T's. But y'all had like a lot of names. Y'all had like 2 names with 4 T's. Is that true?
Well, yeah, it's you know, again, it's the bands, you know.
Right, the bands.
So and they all go through periods of evolution. So the first band I was in, I was like 14. It was called Fistful of Soul. One of my mentors, I call him my other dad, Chester Leonard. He's a probation officer. You know, my mom was divorced at the time, so she got this 14-year-old boy that she don't want to have to kill. So, so she's seeking help from the village.
Right.
And you know, so she sought some help from Chester, who was managing a band in town. And mind you, these guys that were in the band were like, you know, in their 30s or whatever. I mean, they were grown men. And I was 14, and here I come, you know, probably weighed about 100 pounds. with rocks in my pocket, but you know, I came with my little saxophone. The next thing I know, I'm playing military installations every weekend. I got $200-300 in my pocket every Monday morning. You know, so I mean that was the thing. And so those were those bands that had what they call a front line. You got 4 singers on the front. You got a rhythm section. You got a horn section. So you literally got 9 to 11 people, maybe even a dozen. And so we had that band, Fistful of Soul, which kind of morphed into another band called Seventh Heaven, which was younger. It was more people my age because I was playing with these grown people. So this was these guys were much younger and closer to my age.
Yeah.
But even then, we got to the point where we really wanted to do. I mean, you know, we were still playing the military installations, playing high school proms, and you know, stuff like that. But we wanted to do this for real. And so we decided to scale down with just the rhythm section and me. And so we went from like 11 people to 6.
Oh, wow.
Overnight. And we didn't tell nobody. We just left. There was a radio station in Los Angeles called KACE 103.9. And they used to have a contest they called the Battle of the Bands thing. And so we got in that, the 6 of us. We didn't even have a name. I remember Rashid Shakur, my friend Nadir Shakur's brother, my dear friend, he said, "What about Tease?" And I said, "Great, let's do it. Whatever. We don't have time. We got to go on stage." So that's how we became Tease, and we went up there and we kicked butt and took names and we won, and we ended up getting a record deal with RCA and did an album there in 1983, and that was our first record. And then left there because that didn't really pan out. Ollie Brown had signed us when we were at RCA. So we left RCA and hooked up with Stephen Shockley, the guitar player from Lakeside, you may know. And he got us a deal over at Epic Records through Larkin Arnold, who's a legendary record executive. So we did our second and third albums at Epic. And the second album, which we had Firestarter, which was like our biggest record.
Which is making 35 years this year in November.
You be keeping record, girl.
I told y'all my numbers, girl. But I mean, for it to me, and I like Firestarter, and I like the note. That's the one I had to sing earlier today. I was memorizing the note.
Thank you. That was a heavy piece. Yeah. It sounds very comical and that kind of thing, but it wasn't funny.
Wow.
No. That was really that was the suicide note that I wrote so I wouldn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
I don't know if people, get that when they listen to it because like I said, it kind of sounds a little silly.
It does.
Three Stooges thing and whoop, 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 and all that, but it's not.
Yeah. But for your band to make 35 years, somebody here wrote a beautiful piece about the guys in the band. You had Chucky Booker, Cornelius Sims. I mean, you had the Organ Brothers. I mean, everybody who is really I felt like, your band had like a melting pot of so many talented people in the group. Just because you did make that, the 2 albums, like I said, you guys have branched out and did successful things. I mean, you work some of y'all work for Janet Jackson, Chucky Booker, did Why You Want to Play Games. I mean, you guys really, really were at the beginning of your career, but not even that. You even blossomed into being solo artists. So
yeah,
flowers
that was incredible. I mean, looking back, I mean, even in high school, because Cornelius and I went to high school.
Oh, okay.
So we've known each other since we were 14. And he's played with Tupac and Gladys Knight.
Wow.
And, this Leon Silver stuff and just records all over the place. He does a lot of stuff with Huge Groove and a lot of jazz things. He's been on 3 consecutive Grammy-winning albums in the Best Traditional Blues category with Fantastic Negrito for the last 3 years. I mean, so he's just incredible. Wow. And then Chucky Booker, who's been Lionel Richie's music director for the last 10 or dozen years or so. Before that, he was Tina Turner's music director. And, of course, before that, we know he had that Smash Games record that's
my jam.
Larger than life. And and he was music director for, of course, the Rhythm Nation tour with Janet. And Chucky is just one of the more gifted people God ever created.
Oh, yeah.
Just an amazing talent. And then Rex Solis, who was our other keyboardist. Rex is also been a music director for everybody, Britney Spears and Janet, just Mariah, everyone. And then, like you said, the Organ Brothers. Tommy's played with, with Michael. He was in the This Is It band. He's played with Janet, and just everyone. He was on a George Lopez show for years when that was on. So I mean, we've all Derek Organ, one of the most sought after drummers on the West Coast. We all just really, because we were serious. I mean, I know we were young, and people were like, yeah, y'all, you'll get over it, whatever kind of thing. No. We were very, very serious about what we wanted. We were intentional about going after it. And so, that stayed with us, and that stuck with us. And so we've all done, other and big and wonderful things in this business, and we'll continue to.
Definitely. Definitely. And that's just what I love about, with bands, sometimes even though y'all branch out and do other things, y'all still do and help gravitate within the music industry. So that's what I just love about you guys.
And we keep in touch. I mean, I talked to Derek the other day. I talked to Cornelius all the time. I mean, just because you're not necessarily in the same functioning organism anymore doesn't mean that you have, you don't still keep in contact,
Definitely.
Still have that same affinity for each other.
Celebration.
Those are my brothers. Forever.
Yes. Oh, and yes, like I said, congratulations on 35 years of that album. So when that comes in November,
wow,
35.
It's hard to keep up with all these anniversaries.
Like I said, I'm your numbers girl, so I keep up with everything. But I mean, just go to show you from, when you branched off in T's, I know you say you did songwriting and stuff within the band. So did you branch off, and once you did that, did you leave the band and started songwriting, or how did that work out?
No, I was always still writing. I didn't have to leave the band to write. It wasn't like that, because I did. Let's see, we did the first T's record 83. We did the second one in 86. We did Vanessa's record in 88.
The Right Stuff.
The Vanessa's Right Stuff album and the last T's album both came out in 1988.
Wow.
And then somewhere in there was the 5 Heartbeats.
Yeah, the soundtrack you did. In the
and
middle.
Then 1990, I did my solo record at Virgin.
Was that the one you did, Pory Lane?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. I like that song.
Oh, thank you. Layla Hathaway likes that song too, so you have a good company. Every time I see her, she's like, "What, Pory Lane? Are you singing that on your show yet?" She likes that song.
30 years. Wow.
But yeah, I was still writing, the entire time. So 90, I did my album. 91, we did The Comfort Zone. So we had, just right after that. And then that album did so well. I mean, we kind of got a little break, because we sold 2 million albums with The Comfort Zone.
Yeah.
And I was, at that point, I was working a lot with Keith Crouch, who had worked on my album. He did his first production ever on my album, a song called Watch Over Me. And I don't know if you know, but Keith is the nephew of legendary Andre and Sandra Crouch.
Oh, okay.
Legendary gospel greats. Keith and Kenneth are brothers, Keith and Kenneth Crouch. So Keith and I were, doing a bunch of writing and stuff together at the time. And he had a track that I heard. And, mind you, I'm coming off of Vanessa Williams' double platinum.
Yeah.
And I heard this track, and I'm like, bruh, did you write to that? That is banging. And he was like, nah, you want to write it? I was like, heck yeah. So I went, got my book, and it was myself and Rasan Patterson, and Keith and Kenneth, and a couple of young ladies, and we were just, and maybe had a bottle of Hennessy. And, we were just having a good time. And
right.
I had this little hook I came up with. It was like, I want to be down with what you're going through. I want to be down. And we was like, hey, that's dope. Okay, yeah, that's cool. So we were just singing it and everything. And then we recorded that hook just to have it as an idea.
Oh.
And I kind of went in the other room with my notebook and started working on some verses. And I just, okay. And I kind of froze for a minute.
Yeah, I was like, what happened?
So I went in the other room for a second, and I just kind of came up with I would like to get to know if I could be that kind of girl that you could be down for. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, that's kind of good. But, and I kept going. And then I went in the other room where everybody was. And I was like, okay, check this out. And I put the verse, I recorded the verse. And everybody, and the room just kind of fell silent. And we all just kind of went, whoa, what just happened here? I mean, we knew instantly that we had something that was really, really special.
Wow.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I am coming off of Vanessa Williams' double platinum Comfort Zone.
30 years this year.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And so I was saying this will make Vanessa be 3 times platinum this time. We just did 2 million. We about to do 3 million. And Keith had, his manager, Daryl Williams, was also an A&R director at East West, at Atlantic Records at the time. And he was like, Kipper, I just signed this little girl over there, and I would love for her to demo this record that Keith let me hear, that you guys are doing. I was in my feelings, and I said, bruh, I just sold 2 million records with Vanessa Williams, Miss America.
Miss America, Miss First
Miss
Black.
America, but you better add somebody. Why would I even be thinking about some little 14-year-old girl that nobody knows? And Keith was like, Kipper, just let her demo the record. It's not going to hurt anything. Like, oh, whatever. Yeah, go demo it, whatever. Boy, when they played me that thing, I was like, shut my mouth. I was like, she's how old? It's like she's 14. I was like, okay. But yeah, I see what you're saying, so I get it. And it was okay because Vanessa, and you know what? She never even knew that.
What?
I had her on. Yeah, I was hosting a webcast series last year, and I had her on, and I told her. She was like, "What?"
I didn't know. So Vanessa didn't know.
That.
Wow.
And because she had after Comfort Zone as a single, and she had Running Back to You.
Yeah, she did.
And then Save the Best for
Last was the rap.
And I actually, it was a wrap. She was out of here.
Yeah.
And it took her on a different trajectory.
It did.
She was already doing the Broadway thing, and really, really doing that anyway. And that's her love.
Yeah.
Is live theater. So she was doing that, and she was good. You know what I mean? And so we put Brandy on that record, and turned it into Atlantic, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll take that."
You see, when I played the at 5, and she stopped me in my tracks, I was like, "Who is that?" So that alone right there is kind of like a connection with that. But it was so great that you said about Vanessa Williams. Shout out to the R&B representatives, my friends JR and the Natural Elites. We actually did Say the Best for Last. Is one of my top 10 R&B songs of all time. And we talked about you on the episode, how you and Keith really were the connection for Vanessa and Brandy for me, because like I said, for myself, Vanessa Williams, I heard Say the Best for Last when I was 6 years old riding in the car. My mom didn't know. And when I heard it, she had on a dark contemporary. It was kind of low, but I heard it and she stopped me in my tracks. And I was trying to figure out who she was and I had no idea. And then I would say like a year or two later, Pocahontas came out. And when that came out, I was obsessed with it. And not knowingly, at 7 years old, my mom bought me a Pocahontas cake for my birthday. So Vanessa ties into me as well. So from the bottom of my heart, what y'all did for her, the Comfort Zone, you really put her in that catapult. And like I said, we did the episode, and we didn't know that Freedom Dance was on side, was a side.
On the B
so
side.
We know, Kipper, that, so with that, we was like, wow. Say the Best for Last and Freedom Dance was really the one that just took off with everything. So that alone right there, Vanessa Williams, she's a true treasure. And what you did for her on The Right Stuff in the Comfort Zone, which is crazy because the name of her 2 albums were the songs that you wrote. So for those to be named with the name of her album, she's forever tied to you, and you're forever tied to me. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yes. So I think it's just really amazing. But yeah, Brandy deserved that. I can't see Vanessa singing that. No, I couldn't see her singing that.
Oh, I would have got her through it. Trust me. We would have made it happen, baby. Because, you know, and it's so funny when we did the right stuff. Because when I first played it for her,
right,
she was like, "Oh, I love it."
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can do that. That's because she's Broadway. She's
Broadway.
live theater. She's musical theater. And I was like, no. I got you. Trust me. You'll be great. And we got through it. I mean, and she's a breeze because she's a quick study. If you give it to her, she'll give it back to you.
Right. Exactly.
You know, some people aren't as adept at that. Some people don't get it. Singing is a lot about hearing. It's probably mostly about hearing.
Right.
If you can't hear it, then you can't sing it. You can't give it back. So you got to be able to hear. And Vanessa's got a great ear, and she's a quick study. You know, she's an actress, so she give it back to you. Yeah. And so we had a great time. Matter of fact, on the right stuff in the liner notes, she called me the lick master.
The lick.
And so when I had her on my show, I was like, okay, so you have to explain to the world you are Miss America and everything. You can't just be calling some man the lick master. So, no, but it was all about, I gave her every ad lib, every line, every lick, everything. And so she was like, he's the lick master.
Wow. And for the couple's only be 30 years old this year, I think that just speaks so many volumes. And, you know, recently she just was on DJ Cassidy and she sung Save the Best for Last. So, like you said, you know, the things you done for Vanessa in her career. Yes. I mean, y'all to catch me at 7 years old and she made me, and like I said, every time I hear the song, I cry. So it's a little sensitive for me, but, you know, no matter.
It's it's that thing that we were talking about earlier. It's that soul. It's that thing that makes you feel.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, the soul. But not at 7 years old, not me. I was a 7-year-old listening to this song and I got touched.
So you can't tell me that Vanessa's not a soul singer.
Thank you, Mr.
Because when you hear that song, and it does it to me too. I mean, the very first line I hear, sometimes the snow comes down and you. I hear that much. And I'm a weeping mess. Me too.
I cry. I told my friends I cry like every time I hear it. I told them, I said, this is the song I'm going to play at my wedding. So this is my song, period. I'm sorry.
When is that going to be, Chastity? When is the wedding?
2020, 30. Look. I'm not looking for no man. Not right now. No.
Love that. 2020, 30.
Right. There you go. Look, but in so many ways, like I said, you gear off so many people's career, like Vanessa Williams and Brandy Norwood and so many people that came after her. And now we go to Kenny Lattimore in 1996. You have definitely kind of gear started so many careers. So how did you meet with Kenny Lattimore? How did that come about in that sense?
So my brother, Matt Jones, shout out to Matty J, was at that time the A&R director at Columbia Records. He actually signed Kenny to the label. Kenny had been in Mannequin, in that group Mannequin in DC. And I think they did a record at Epic because they came in after T.
What? Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
I think they took the spot we had, which is fine with me because I was done with them. Their marketing thing for Black music at that time was helter skelter. They were really trying to figure it out. You know, if you weren't Michael Jackson, who was not Black music, except that the Black music department was a slave to whatever they said was going to happen with him. So anyway, that's a whole other.
Right, I got you though. I'm here with you. I know what you're talking about.
Right. So my brother signed Kenny to Columbia, and you know, my brother was like, "Hey man, you got to hear this kid. You're gonna love his voice, and I know you're gonna." He just told me, he's like, "I know you're gonna want to work with him."
Oh.
So, you know, I mean, he's played me artists before, and I kind of go, whatever. But when I heard Kenny, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I really want to work with him.
Oh.
So Kenny at the time, you know, Kenny's kind of shy. He wasn't real talkative.
Mm-hmm.
He's really come around, but he wasn't always that guy. And so my brother wanted to pair him with Dave Hall at the time, and Dave Hall was hot as fish grease. We talking Mary J. Blige,
Yeah.
You know, all that East Coast R&B, hip hop, soul
Was
was
Dave
Dave
Hall.
Hall.
Yep, Dave Jam
And
Hall.
so Dave Jam Hall, that's it. So so we went to the
Yes.
house, and it's so funny because my brother goes, okay, I need you to go because Kenny don't talk, Dave don't talk. Somebody got to say something so we get this thing going. So I'm sending you out there to make it happen. So I was like, oh Lord, God. Not only do I have to write, I got to be, you know, the instigator of the whole thing. I got to make it go, which is I'm good at that because I'm a people person, so it's okay. So I went and Dave had, you know, so what y'all want to do? It's like, really? We came all the way out here to White Plains to go, what y'all want to do? So anyway, he had a couple of things that he had worked up. And one was the track for Never Too Busy. And I said, I asked Kenny, I was like, you know, what, in relationships, I mean, what are, you know, some of the things that we think about and talk about? And, you know, he was like, well, you know, we get on this grind and you know on the merry-go-round and you're just so busy because you're doing what you're doing, and then the next thing you know you're neglecting your relationship because you're so busy doing what you're doing. And I'm like, there we go. So let's go for that piece, since we know that people expect you to be so busy because you're doing what you're doing. And let's talk about your devotion to saying that you're not too busy. You're never too. I'm never too busy for you, you know, and that's kind of where we went, and that's kind of how it happened. And you know, we sat down and came up with it, and we did that. We knocked that one out pretty quick. And then Dave had another track with the intro to Love TKO.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I won't let you down.
And so to that, I did it. I won't let you down. Don't worry about me leaving. Yeah, and again, just kind of went pretty simple, just kind of easy. And so we did those two things with Dave, and then we come back to California. Yeah, we came back. We went back to California, and Keith was like, you know, I want to get something on Kenny's record too. So he gave me the track for Just What It Takes.
I love Just What It Takes.
Another story of the lost and lonely, stuck right in the middle of two broken hearts. Yeah, that was really good. I like that song a lot. So we did that, and then O.G. Pierce.
I hope you say my favorite. I think I know you finna. This is actually my favorite track off the album.
Oh my God! So he gave me this ballad that was just big and grandiose. I'm just like, oh my Lord, this is bigger than just a song. This is, I got, you know, we got to talk. This has to be something. And I had still kind of on the outs with a cousin of mine who was having a drug problem, and she was a hero of mine. She was just she's like a big sister, and so I really looked up to her. And when I saw this fall from grace, I was just embarrassed. I was like, "What is wrong with you?" And she was, you know, there was some things missing from my grandparents' house. I mean, it was bad, you know. I mean, and you know, it was during that time in LA, that crack epidemic thing. And
yeah.
you know, just episode after episode, and I was just like sick of her. I just, you know, and then she had ran off with her sister's baby,
Oh
and
wow.
nobody knew where she was, and she was in a crack den somewhere. But when we
Wow.
found that out, I went and got my shotgun, and my grandfather said, "Come on, let's go get her." And I went to get my shotgun, and he said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 son, what are you doing?" And I said, "Man, come on, we finna go over here. It's on and crack it." He said, "Oh, no, 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 sir. That is not what we're going to do." I was like, "Man, she been stealing from you, and she done done." He said, "Kipper, listen, I want you to remember something. Always remember, never, ever, ever give up on somebody, because you don't know when they're going to get it together. That's not your call."
That's right.
Okay? And you know, my grandfather was my hero, and he was my everything. So I had to listen. I went and put my gun down, and we got the baby. I took her, took the baby home and everything. But and my cousin ended up not only getting herself together, she's great.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Absolutely wonderful. And so it just proved what my grandfather said. Always remember.
That's my.
I'll be here waiting.
That is my favorite cut. I listen to that.
Watch TV tonight, or I could practice my smile. I got nothing else to do since you're not here by my side. Now the only way I'll ever go is moments at a time. But I'll hurry back to be by your side. Oh my goodness, man.
Always
but yeah, that's
that should have been a single. I think that should have been a fourth single.
yeah.
I'm sorry, that should have been a fourth single. It was my favorite song off the whole album.
Wow.
I played that more than For You, and For You was the hit.
Oh yeah.
But the album cuts for me is everything.
I just I mean, really quick, I want to do something, because I want to do. I don't know where we're going to go in this conversation.
Oh, you could. You are good.
I made some notes, and they're just, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who were really, really integral in that whole piece of Kenny Lattimore's project. And you know, I spoke about my brother Matt Jones, and he's by far number one. Number 2 is Kenny's manager at the time was a gentleman named Colin Gale. And Colin was, I mean, he was doing it all. He wasn't just a manager, he was a booking agent. He was just doing everything.
Wow.
And he's a brilliant guy. And so I got to shout him out and just, say thank you for everything you did to make that happen, because that sent my career into a whole another level. And then Tony Rice was partners with Colin at the time. Rhythm Jazz was the name of the company, Rhythm Jazz Management. And Tony Rice was another champion of mine. Who I'm just big about people who believe in. You don't have to do that. Nobody. My grandfather told me people don't have to be nice to you. It hurt my feelings, but it's a fact.
It's a fact, yeah.
People do not have to be nice to you. So when they are, you make sure that they know that they are appreciated. And so I'm shouting out these people because I appreciate them more than they'll ever know.
Definitely. You should definitely do that. I don't mind at all.
Yeah. Demet Guidry was also an exec at Columbia at the time, and also my family. And I just have to shout him out because he was also very integral in that whole formation of putting this project together. And then O.G. Pierce, one of the more talented people God ever created. God rest his soul. Bless it. Just does. So I just can't believe he's not here anymore. But he not only wrote, he and I wrote "Always Remember" together.
Love that song.
But he also wrote, and this is going to drive you way across town. "This Is How We Do It" with Montel Jordan.
Montel!
What? Yeah. So
that's the 95 anthem.
All over the place. But yeah, so I really wanted to to shout all of those people out. That's big for me. And then uh, forgiveness.
Yeah, I love forgiveness too.
Now that's Kenneth Crouch. That's the other Crouch
The
brother.
other Crouch.
Right. Who again is just so freaking ridiculously talented.
Yes.
He's the piano player that Herbie Hancock calls and says, "Hey, what you doing? Let's shake." So they sit down together and play. Now you got to be like way super on top of your game. And that is Kenneth Crouch. He's an amazing musician, and my brother and I love him.
Right.
So I just wanted to shout those people out because that all meant the world to me. Oh, one more. I'm sorry.
Mr. Kipper, you
Booker
go
T.
ahead. You go ahead.
Okay.
I am not. No.
But Booker T. Jones III.
Oh yes.
And Booker was integral in all the sound design for Keith Crouch's production stuff. So all that sound that you hear in Brandy's record, and I Want to Be Down, that catches your ear, and you go, wow. All that low bass that you can really only hear on great speakers. You can't even hear it in some cars because they can't pick it up.
No.
But all of that sonic display, all of that sound design was Booker and Keith. And Booker is my brother, and I will love him for the rest of my life. He passed away, what is it, 7 years ago now. And but I just had to, shout out to Booker because I know his family is probably watching. So,
yeah,
I love that boy.
Oh, and that's why I do my show too, Mr. Kipper, because I want to always make sure that everybody who's really changed the game, regardless if they're not here anymore or still here, they really made a difference, in this industry, and especially in R&B, And I'm so happy you shouted those people out because we never want to give the people, they're not unforgotten, they're always here with us, just in spirit, And so no matter what has happened, I love what you did then. And like I said, I just love how y'all did so much for Kenny because this is at a time when Maxwell was coming out, D'Angelo was coming out. So you are competing like it's like a neo-soul, but I get a neo-soul vibe with Kenny Lattimore, but I get so much of a Donny Hathaway-esque type of 90s vibe from him. He fit right in. So like I said, the whole creative process you did for his album just really gravitated to me so much. And like I said, wow, this album has done so much. I mean, it went gold. It became so simple. Like I said, the juggernaut that really hit him was the For You album. But not even that. You had an actual NBA player who was really, really inspired by this, the great Michael Jordan. So how do you feel that Michael Jordan was inspired by Kenny Lattimore? But not even that. Is it true? Now, I want to ask this. Is it true that Never Too Busy was supposed to be in his cologne commercial?
I heard what you heard.
Well, let me say this.
I don't have no inside dope. You know what I mean?
Well, let me say this. I had seen an interview not too long ago with Kenny Lattimore. They talked about it because I think they were talking about him last year because, Michael had just did The Last Dance, the documentary last year. And they had to license one of the songs. I think it was on The Soul of a Man. And they asked about it, and they were Kenny had said that Never Too Busy was supposed to be on his cologne commercial, but it didn't make it through. But with that being said, how do you feel that Michael Jordan was so inspired by the music that you wrote for Kenny Lattimore, but not even that, he loved both of his albums that you were a part of at the time?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I do know that Michael Jordan was heavily invested in
I know exactly
into music projects at that time. I'll just leave that right there.
Magic Johnson. That's all I need to know. Look.
Well, and so I was even on one of those projects. I don't know if you know the Hidden Beach label, but Hidden Beach was like a kind of black AC jazz label.
Okay.
Jill Scott is on Hidden Beach. That's how she
wow.
Yeah. But they did a series called Hidden Hits, and they did another series called Unwrapped, which was like popular R&B records done as jazz records.
Oh yeah, okay. I know exactly what you're
And,
talking about. Yeah.
yeah, like popular R&B hip hop records done as jazz records. And then they
Mm-hmm.
did the Hidden Hits record, which was like an independent artist compilation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and because this was early in the independent, and so I was on like their, I think volume 1 or volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
I had a song called Better, and it was included in the Hidden Beach package. So yeah, so there
Wow.
was you know, there was some stuff going on. But I
Yeah.
wish we had made a clone commercial. That would have been great.
No. Well, either way it goes, I mean, for Michael Jordan to be just inspired by anything that you put a pen to, that goes to show you that your music gravitated to the biggest star at that time. I mean, he's still the biggest celebrity ever, but at the time when he was at the height of his career, and you know, on the documentary, you know, Michael said "A Solo Man" was his favorite album, and that was actually his preparation, his hype music to get him up in the 1998 finals. So for you to be a
So that's
part of
all good. I
that,
got 2 songs on that record too.
okay, and look, and not even just that. I mean, I remember I seen an interview with Kenny. He said his streams had went extremely up after the documentary. So for you to be inspired, for your music, excuse me, and your songwriting be inspired by something that, you know, Kenny sung, but you wrote for him, it just goes to show you that your music's timeless. And, you know, for somebody like a Michael Jordan, just to be so gravitated to that, that really speaks volumes for
And
you as
again,
a person.
that you know, that piece I said about me working speaking at Full Sail University and doing that Power of a Great Song presentation. I mean,
Right.
again, there you have it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how that works. You know,
Right.
you don't even know how it's affecting people or who it's reaching, or you know, and that kind of thing. And you look up at a Michael Jordan or a, you know, somebody else is calling about, okay, can we get that song? Or like I said, the people from Pose are like, we need that song. It represents 1994.
That's right.
You know, and I'm like, wow.
It was everything. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then, like I said, for Pose to even just play it, I went crazy. I mean, it meant so much to me. But not even that, you know, Mr. Kipper, you really, really, like LA Times call you, the best kept secret of soul. So you really are that guy that really just gravitated to so many people. And like I said, you reach all ages and all walks of life. So I'm just so proud of you. You really just did your work with Kenny, and just for it to be so successful, for him to go gold. I mean, that's so many volumes, and so proud. Thank you so much. You really did that. So I want to ask you another question. So you are the most immaculate songwriter, one of my favorite songwriters of my time growing up. So I wanted to ask you, if you had to, what do you think about the key of making a hit, and what is one of your hits from your favorite catalog?
The key, she says. I'm not sure that there is a key. Now, there are some things that a hit song possesses.
All right.
You got to have a memorable melody, or 2 or 3. 1 is great, 2's really good, and 3 will certainly win.
Yeah.
A song that comes to mind that's out right now is what is it called? Levitate by Dua Lipa.
I know Dua Lipa, but I never heard the song Levitate.
My sugar baby, my sugar douche, yeah, 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 yeah. I want you all night, so yo, I want you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You don't know that song?
No, I never heard it.
Huge. And that's like 2 choruses.
Oh wow.
The verse is I mean, really simple, slinky melody. I want me. I want you, baby. My sugar bush. I'm levitating. My sugar bush. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God. It is just ear candy. It's absolute ear candy. And so it's got like one, two, three, maybe even four, just very catchy melodies in this record. And so that catchy melody thing wins every time. Um, uh, Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar High. You know Watermelon Sugar? You know that record? These are
No,
all
I'm
pop
not.
records. They're like really, really pop. They're not black records. Um, but again, just crazy hooks.
Right.
And so I think that's the thing that really, really, really makes a hit record a hit record. Then you asked me what of my records
is your
is
favorite?
kind of like that. I would probably say with what I just described, which is again not the only criteria. It's just what I'm giving you right now. But of what I just described, I would probably say, baby, 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 don't
Don't
you
you
know
know
that
that
you're
you're
so
so
fine?
fine?
Yeah,
Now I know that
yeah,
song.
yeah. So you got that hook, and then you got the yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
which is the sing along of all sing along.
Well, I do the
And
dance too. So, I had the DVD, so I was doing the dance and all
right,
that.
and then even in the verses you got yes, it's time to sing, baby, baby,
Baby.
right? So you got this series of little hooks. I can't wait each day
Hey,
just
just
to
to
see
see
you
you
walk,
walk.
trying
Try
to
to
move
move
in
in
close
close
to
to
get
get
to
to
where
where
you
you
are.
are.
Yeah. So you got all of these little hooks that kind of
Right.
converge, and it's undeniable. That record was I don't know if it still holds the record, but it was the fastest rising record in Atlantic Records history. It went to number one
What?
faster than any record in Atlantic Records history. Um,
Wow.
Now, it was a great record, granted, but what they did, which what a lot of people were doing back in those days, was we did the remix to "I Want to Be Down" with Queen Latifah and MC Lyte and Yo
Dope.
Yo, and the only way to get that remix was you had to buy Baby. You had to buy the single, the next single.
Oh, wow.
It was the B side of the second single. And the only way to get it, that remix of I Want to Be Down, was you had to buy the single for Baby. So that record shot to number one. Because everybody had to have it. You know what I mean?
And it was
That
nominated
Latifah
for a
verse had
Grammy.
people on fire.
Right, it was, and then it was nominated for a Grammy. I interviewed last year Gordon Chambers, and he didn't even know he was nominated with y'all. He won for Anita Baker. I apologize. So y'all were in the
Who's
same.
that?
Gordon Chambers, the
Oh,
songwriter.
Gordon. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
and it was nominated in the same category. And he won for Anita Baker. I apologize, and he didn't even know y'all were nominated together. He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, you were nominated with her." He was just so shocked.
What a mess. That's my
I
buddy. I
love
love
Gordon
you.
though. He's such a sweetheart. But I mean, like I said, for Baby, I definitely see why people were gravitating to that. And I think, like you said, the dancing. I mean, everything. Like I said, if you get an infectious beat in the hook and people gravitate to that and then make it into a dance craze, like TikTok and all these other people are doing now, they can make it into it and gravitate and can reach a bigger and bigger audience. So that is crazy. I did not know Baby was the fastest. Wow, that's new to
Yeah,
me. And I'm a
yeah.
Brandy fan.
I don't know if it still holds that record, but it was at the time.
Wow. I had no clue. That is so, that's so amazing. You dropped so many gems. I mean, that is just, like I said, I mean, I learned so much. But I mean, like I said, you as a songwriter, I mean, you just really make me understand the pen more better when it comes down to songwriting, because everybody just think you're just writing, but no, it goes deep and in depth with writing and just coming from so many perspectives. It can either come from you talking to Kenny Lattimore or talking to having a friend, talking about I want to be down, your pen game comes from experience, but at the same time, you're taking it and making it into a beat type of thing. That's what it sounds like to me. So I just think that is just so great, so amazing, so dope. So Miss Kip, another one. So if you had to pick one of your favorite things that you love to do, I wanted to ask you, do you like songwriting, singing, or entertaining? Oh,
That's interesting. It's a very difficult question to answer. Because I love them all. I love the feeling of completing a song when it's done and it's great and you just can't get enough of it. You know, you just keep listening to it over and over and over and over and over. You can't understand why everybody else isn't just jumping off the roof because it's just fantastic. So I love that feeling. You know, it's ecstasy. As a singer, there's nothing like that thing I was telling you about, pricking someone and getting someone to like emote or feel something. You know, it's like, wow, that's an incredible feeling. Yeah. And then on top of all of that, my favorite place in the world to be is on stage. It's on stage with the microphone. I don't care. Actually, it's better for me if it's 200,000 people, because if it's only 10, I get a little weird. So I need a lot of people.
Right.
But I live to be on stage.
Wow. I seen the performance.
So it's hard for me to answer that question.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It just is. If I will say that right now, probably entertaining. Probably being on stage is my favorite thing to do.
Right. And when I listen to your,
and when I'll hear a song that I just wrote, like I'm finishing up the Betty's record, and I can't get enough of it. I just listen to it over and over and over and over again because I just think it's the greatest thing ever. So
yeah, but when the other night, definitely, when the other night I was listening to your song "Wish Upon a Star," when you made it like a dance version of the Royce Royce record, I was like, "This is like entertaining. I could dance, I can, turn up, but what they call it now." But for the most part, you made it from a slow jam into a fast beat, but it's a dance record. It's fun. It's very liberating. So when you listen to it as an entertainer, you're gonna take that perspective. Like, I can dance to this. I can have a good time. So, like I said, I could definitely see that entertainer side, because when I listen to the record, I'm like, this is dance. It's a lot of dancing and everything.
I like to show my butt. I'm just like, that's me.
And they call you a triple threat indeed. I said, yep, he's definitely a triple threat. Yes. That is just so amazing. Thank you. So, if you had to describe one word about Kenny Lattimore's album today, the 25th anniversary of Kenny Lattimore's album, what word would you describe it?
Classic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely classic. It defines the term classic.
Yeah.
Because of all the things that I mentioned earlier, his gentlemanly qualities, the presentation itself, the package, the song, the production, the care that went into it. It wasn't just thrown together. It was planned and executed well.
Yeah.
And everybody went into it with a sense of purpose. From Jay Dibbs to Barry Eastman to Kenny Laram and myself and Keith and Kenneth and everyone. I mean, we all went into it with a real Sam Kendrick. Who am I mixing? I think that's everyone. But I mean, it was just an amazing, amazing project. And classic is the word that comes to mind. I was going to say iconic, but that would probably be the next record. I think that from the Soul of Man record, I think I would call that an iconic project.
Yeah.
It's a concept record that Kenny had an idea that he wanted to see through.
Right.
And everything about that record, Kadir Nelson's cover art to just everything. I mean, I bounced around at Jazzy Jeff's studio, A Touch of Jazz in Philadelphia. I literally bounced around in 3 rooms with Vidal Davis and Andre Harris, and with Darren Henson and Keith Pelzer, and with Carvin Haggins and Ivan Barrios, and James Poyser was just following me around.
Oh,
so
James, oh my God.
I'm literally just going from room to room and just writing with all of these teams. And it was just an incredible experience. And I mean, that, like I said, I call that iconic. That was That was crazy and wonderful, and I can't wait to do something like that again. I know Jazzy Jeff has his, what is it called? Playmakers? There's something, it's a DJ retreat he does, and I'm going to go next time and just take my bag and just start writing with cats. I'm just going to, yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, classic. That is the one.
Yeah. I definitely, yes, it is a classic. I definitely call it soulful for me because what y'all did for this album, you brought something out of Kenny Lattimore that was just so grand, even though he was in this neo soul movement at the time. Because neo soul was literally at the beginning of its era, and like I said, Kenny was coming at a time that he was, I guess, trying to find his own, but I mean, he still was soulful in so many ways. And like I said, that song "Never Too Busy" was just a great starter for him. And then when you lead into those ballads like "For You," and then like I said, for my favorite, I Always Remember, those songs make you understand that Kenny Lattimore is a jack of all trades. He can do an up-tempo record like "Weekend Nuts" on his third album. He can be very versatile. So what you did for him, you get started him in a direction where he is definitely in R&B, but for him alone right there, you did a beautiful job for Never Too Busy. But my favorite from you is Always Remember. That's my favorite. That one I didn't play about 20 times, so I'm sorry.
No, thank
That's
you.
the
It's real,
one.
like I said, it's very personal. So,
wow. Now, I understand the backstory for it makes you really sit and think now. Because for me, I think of it as like, a breakup for me in my perspective. But listening to your story, it's like, wow, it's really deeper than a lot of people think. So just so proud, and thank you so much, Kipper Jones, and so proud of you, and just so excited for the 25th anniversary. I can't believe it's been 25 years today. Like, 1996 was a
telling me. And how can it be? I'm only 27.
look, and I'm 10.
Yeah, I'm 27 for the 32nd time. I will be 60 years old January 25th, and I am not ashamed.
Come on, God bless you. Yes, thank you so much. And I wanted to ask you before we do end the live today, do you have any last words? And I wanted you to talk about your activism. I love how you've been an activist for so much what you've done. I definitely love how you have really picked up a lot of stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit, or do you have anything else you want to say?
Sure. This last year, it's been very tumultuous for all of us. So I can't lay any claim to having, the market cornered on what this year did to me. But it really did kind of send my career off axis a bit. And so I haven't been able to participate like I'd like to like I would have liked to in the last election. But I'm heavily into voter registration, voter engagement, voter education. We need to know. We need to know better so that we can do better. And that is not just from a societal standpoint. I really think that we need to know better so that we can harness our political power.
Right.
We have a power that when I say we, I'm talking about Black folks. We don't, just so we don't get no misunderstanding. We don't harness our power, but we are always ready to jump up and say what other people don't do for us.
That's true.
And I get it. Just a lot of it is justified because people don't do for us. That just means we have to do. Yeah. And so that means we have to know what it is that we have to do. We have to be educated about things like lobbying Congress or lobbying your state legislature. Or even running for office. Or even going to a city council meeting or a county supervisor meeting. Or, you have every right to go. You pay taxes. You can go and sit there and ask questions. You can do all of that.
That's right.
You don't have to just be relegated to what happens to you. You can also take charge of what happens to you.
That's right.
And be responsible. But we have to be educated and know that those are the things we have to do. So I advocate real heavy, in our community, in the Black community and the LGBTQ community. Because I also see that even in the Black community, we have the gall to look down on our LGBTQ brothers and sisters and do the same thing to them that is done to us. That don't work with me.
It don't make me either.
So it doesn't work for me, and so I do everything I can to see that that line is blurred and or erased.
Right.
And then another thing that I do is through one of our ministries at my church, the Gateway Ministry, is we aid in the homeless LGBTQ youth. Parents that have a hard time with their kids' sexuality and can't, I don't know, justify it, explain it, seem to be able to really quickly put their kids out on the street. And you have a large population of homeless youth who cannot fend for themselves. They don't, you know, so we were, at my church, we feed them a whole meal every quarter. I mean, I'm not talking about like hamburgers and fries. I mean, we go turkey dressing, greens,
come on,
sweet potatoes and greens. I mean, we give it to them.
Yeah.
But not only do we do that, we sit and talk to them and try to find out, you know, what's going on. And
right.
you know, do you need a MARTA card so you can take transportation to get a job? Or do you just need a phone to call your mother?
That's right.
Do you need, you know what I mean? You need someplace, you need a gift card so you can go wash your clothes. But just, you know, just whatever. I mean, you know, whatever you can do. And these people out here are hurting. And this is before the pandemic. So I can only imagine what's going on. You know, and I've been, you know, like I said, I've been in my shell dealing with my own stuff. So I don't get to get out as much as I'd like to and do as much as I'd like to. But, you know, I'm my grandfather's grandson, and I never met a stranger.
Yeah.
You know, my cousin, my brother cousin, his name's Philip, Reverend Philip A. Jones from Houston, Texas. He and I, you know, we're in a competition to be our grandfather. Because he was just the most amazing person that we ever knew. Like I said, he never met a stranger, and he wasn't going to let you be unmoved after you met him.
Right.
You were going to remember that you met him. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And in a good way, not like, oh my God.
Oh,
you
no.
I mean?
I definitely knew what you were saying.
In the best and most positive light. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, but so to leave you, I would say this, and I always leave people with this. 3 things, and especially for my creative community kids. 1, be open. Never, ever, ever think you know it all. Allow people to pour into you. Allow people to tell you things that they think may help you. You might not think so. Take it anyway. You don't need it, throw it out. But take it. Be open. The second is be humble. There's always somebody better than you. You ain't the best. You just, because you can't be. There's always somebody better. For every, you know, one of you, there's a Jacob Collier. So, and if you ever think you're the best at it, go to YouTube, pull up Jacob Collier, Moon River, and go back to sleep. Okay, so but be humble. You know, it doesn't serve you to be arrogant about anything. You did not gift yourself. You didn't gift yourself. You may be gifted, but you didn't gift yourself. The gift came from someone.
Come on.
And that means that there is a giver. And I'm just saying, don't get haughty with yourself. Be open, be humble, and be honest. Nobody likes a phony. Nobody likes a fake. Just be you. And guess what? You get to be the best you. Can't nobody do that better than you.
No, they can't.
You get to be the best you there is. Because can't nobody be better at being you than you.
That's right.
So just be honest, be authentic. Authentic wins. Just be you. You know? And then you ain't got to remember who you was the other time if you was trying to be somebody else. Just be you. Be open, be humble, and be honest.
God bless.
God bless you and God keep you.
Yes, thank you so much, Kipper Jones, from my heart. And like I said, I will forever remember you. You are forever in my heart. And like I said, for the past 27 years, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving a 14-year-old girl the chance to pen your pen and gave me life and just breathe life into me. 27 years later, I'm still a fan. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. God bless you. And like I said, thank you so much for just celebrating this beautiful, timeless classic album, Kenny Lattimore, so much. Also, guys, next week, join me. I will have next Saturday the R&B legend, singer, songwriter, and producer. I don't know if y'all remember him. This is the guy. He's an actor. He was in the Sister Act 2 movie. His name is Mr. Ryan Toby.
Ryan Toby!
Yes.
I can answer that.
Yeah, you did.
That's
We
my
are going
dude.
to have the one
Please
and
tell
only
Ryan I
Mr.
said hey.
Yes, he's coming with me next Saturday, and we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the City High self-titled debut album. Please join me next week, next Saturday. We are joining with Mr. Ryan Toby. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to be talking about the album, the hits, what would you do on Caramel. I'm just so excited to have him on my platform and just honor R&B. And like I said, Mr. Kipper, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. We are done with the 25th anniversary of Kenny Lattimore. God bless you. Thank you so much. And I don't know what highlight to pick today, but other than that, like I said, you did everything. So you're one of a kind. God bless you. And thank you so much for coming on my platform and just sharing your beautiful story. Thank you.
My pleasure, Chastity. Thank you. And thank you for what you do, darling. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, your roses and your flowers will forever be on my platform. Thank you. Bye-bye.